Jefta Washington McClyman, aka Luciano. Welcome to Ghana.
Give thanks, brother. Blessings, you know?
We're excited to have you around us today.
I'm
Great
excited
to see you. We're discussing you recently with a couple of friends about your arrival, and one person talked about your name and spirituality, that you're a very spiritual person, that in your music they realize that you don't sing like the other artists. Usually they've seen you in shows where you would almost pray for the audience. Tell us a little bit about your spirituality.
Well, I grew up in the church, you know. I grew up in the Adventist movement. My father was an evangelist. So he instilled in us certain principles of the Bible, you know, which even as a big man, I have not departed from, you know. As the Bible says, grow the youth the way they should grow, and you know, later on when they get older, they will not depart from it. I think it's exactly what is happening with me. And writing my songs, I think about the people, I think about the Almighty, firstly. Because this gift that God has given is a gift to help humanity, to inspire people. It's not all about singing and dancing and having a party, you know. It's not about having a big time or having a fun time. It's a mission for me. It's not a vacation, you know.
Great. Okay, so in the recent Pan-African conferences, they had issues with spiritualism, about the spiritualism of Africa, the motherland. You said something about humanity, but how far do you think you will contribute to Pan-Africanism with your music and your personal spirituality?
Yeah, there should be no problem with spirituality, because spirituality is the essence of life. So I don't see why they should have a problem. They might have a problem with religion, because it's religion that causes all the division amongst humanity. But spirituality, they can't trouble that, because God is the spirit in man. So the more God you have in you, the more spirit will be expressed, the more spirit will be emanating from your body, you know. So my work and contribution is not just, to me, it's not just no Pan-African thing. It's for humanity, humanitarian thing. So whether you're black or white, or whether you're rich or poor, whether you're African or you name it, it's appealing to the conscience of mankind. That's what the music does. Because the music transcends all boundaries of empires. It appeals to the conscience of humanity. And as the great Bob Marley said, one good thing about music, when it hits you, feel no pain. But you feel something move into your vein, you know? Yeah, so I don't think man have no right to question spiritualism. What they should question is religion.
True.
Yeah.
On one side, I've observed you have true fans that understand what you preach. But then there are a group of people who also don't understand you. Somebody compared you to Jesus Christ to me recently, and I asked why. And he said there was a woman who was caught in the act of adultery. She was to be stoned, and Jesus protected her. And that you had an issue with one Mikey General, and you protected him from those who were out there to get him. Do you want to talk about people's perceptions about your association with gangsterism, about your association with people who society would generally look down on for one reason or the other?
Well, as I said, I think there's hope for everyone, you know. And there's salvation for everyone, and anyone can repent, really. Because even if when you read the Bible, you read about even Saul, who was always persecuting the righteous. He turned around to become one of the greatest apostles of the Bible, who is referred to as Paul in the Bible. So we know we shouldn't condemn no one, and who are we to condemn anyone? Because as the Bible says, who is guiltless? Throw the first stone. And we know that all of us have our own problems and spiritual problems, and you know, in terms of how we deal with the Almighty. We all have fallen short of the glory of God. But it's for us to work day by day, diligently, and try to achieve that oneness with God, you know. And I do believe that people can change. I was once in the world also, and I come away from the world. Though I was once a ballad, you know. And I come away from I put on my locks and stay away from certain things. I used to drink and all them things. And I come away from that because when you find God, God will make you sufficient, you know. And you don't find you don't even need too much of the material, bro. You don't need too much of what is out there. If you are confident and sufficient within, then the more at one you are with yourself and with God, the less you will tend to want to go out there partying every night and flossing and all this kind of stuff, you know. Gambling and all this kind of thing. When people gamble, it's like them have their eyes red for Babylon things.
Yeah.
When people keep going after Babylon cave, them that's how they get caught up in the corruption.
Okay. So, with your take on reggae music and its influence on the youth, and a general association with reggae music and the use of cannabis, Africa can produce a lot of cannabis. We all know about the fact that cannabis can be used for different things. In fact, George Bush himself, George W. Bush, once used a parachute that was woven from cannabis strands. But then, it looks as if in Africa, we are more concerned about using it recreationally. Do you have a message for the youth out there?
Well, as I say, everything in life requires moderation. And I think, like everything else, there's a principle to everything. Driving a car, ironing your clothes, washing or anything, there's a principle. So in the usage of the cannabis, there's also a principle to it. I don't believe that man should be walking on the street and burning up.
Like they do in Amsterdam?
You know, not necessarily. I believe that since it's a spiritual sacrament, we should treat it with a sacredness. When I use it, I go on my wonderful meditation. You know,
it's like the Christian Holy Communion.
I
and
would
wine.
I light up. I put on my reggae music. I read the Psalms and burn chalice. You know, now I keep no malice with Sergeant Wallace. Look it up. I believe that there is a hypocrisy in Babylon system because they fight the cannabis, they criminalize it, and at the same time, they allow cigarettes to be sold over counter. Cigarette is more dangerous than cannabis. Cigarette is known to be conducive to cancer. And they know of that, and they still allow. If you even look on the cigarette box, it tells you that surgeon warns that cigarette is dangerous for your health. How can you be selling that? They should ban that then, since they're fighting the cannabis.
Exactly.
Why is it they're fighting the cannabis and allowing alcohol and rum and all this kind of stuff to be sold over the counter? People drink rum and go and kill themselves. Drive and crash. Drunk driving. We know that most of the accidents on the road because to drunk driving. Yeah. I use cannabis spiritually and approach it with respect. You know, so in that sense, I don't necessarily have to be, you know, out in John public burning it. You know, I do it in my own privacy. But I believe that the heads of government, especially in Africa here, if they really treat it with that respect, just like how America, some parts of America, cannabis is legalized and it's being cultivated on a large scale.
Yeah.
In Amsterdam and these places, you can walk into any cafe and get your cannabis. You know, different strains, all different strains. You know,
Yeah.
so it's a double standardness we see happening right now in the world. Like, they need to just come to them senses, man, and just allow this thing. Because it's not nothing that was, you don't have to tamper, you don't have to do nothing to cannabis for it to be used. It's a natural plant that grows naturally. It's not like heroin and all this that has to go through all kind of process. And coke and all that, we have to go through process. Cannabis is a natural herb. You can use it for tea. You can use it for eye wash. Because in Jamaica there is a good eye drop called cannabis that is made from the cannabis. And it's the best for glaucoma. They know it. The cannabis has medicinal properties. Up to 420 different properties of the cannabis. You can't beat that. No matter how they fight it, it's gonna keep coming. It's like they're trying to fight the spirit of God. They're wrong. Mankind is really gone wrong.
Not to take much of your time, I hear you have a show coming up on the 18th, on April 18th.
Definitely.
So we should look up to meeting you there live.
Yes, man, I want the fans to come on out on the 18th at the Liberty Park, right?
Yes.
Definitely. It's liberation for the people. Yeah, man.
Okay, I hope I see you there then.
I look